Good morning, students. Today we are going to do this poem Childhood by Marcus Nathan. You can take out your books, Hornbill, and we can start with this poem. Right? Please take out page number 58. Be ready. Keep your videos on. And let me admit few more. Yes. Let me share the poem with you. Yes. Okay. Childhood. When did my childhood go? Was it the day I ceased to be 11? Was it the time I realized that hell and heaven could not be found in geography and therefore could not be? Was that the day? So the poet here has begun the first few lines as on a very personal note. I'm making a model reading for you simultaneously. Am I audible, dear children? Responses are awaited. Very good. Thank you. You can speak also and you can send me some responses also.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you, dear children. When did my childhood go? Was it the time I realized that adults were not all they seemed to be? They talked of love and preached of love, but did not act so lovingly. Was that the day? So there's a question, but there's an exclamation mark. If you see, we'll explore the poem. Let's read it. When did my childhood go? Was it when I found my mind was really mine to choose whichever way I choose, producing thoughts that were not those of other people, but my own and mine alone? Was that the day? Right? Where did my childhood go? It went to some forgotten place that is hidden in an infant's face. That's all I know. Let me make one more model reading for you so that you may put your mind into it. When did my childhood go? Was it the day I ceased to be 11? Was it the time when I was 11, when I stepped into 11, when I finished my 10 years? Now, what is the significance of 11? So when I actually started understanding the things, the little bit of outside world, was it the time I realized that hell and heaven could not be found in geography? When I started understanding geography and found that there is hell, there is heaven, and therefore could not be, was that the day? So he found that hell and heaven are not in geography. Maybe they are in your own heart. Maybe they are in your own ambience. Maybe you create them for yourself. So he says, when did my childhood leave me? When I became a grown up, was that particular day when I was not now no more 10 years old? Or was it the time I realized that there is hell, there is an inferno, and not an inferno, but there is inferno, there is paradise. I've used the synonyms of hell and heaven. Could not be, and they cannot be found. We cannot find them in geography, and therefore could not be. Was that the day? He's not asking us. He's remarking. He's astounded. You can say he's a bit shocked. Was that the day? There is affirmation, but there is exclamation. Then, when did my childhood go? The poem is beginning with a question. Every stanza is beginning with a question, right? When did my childhood go? Was it the time I realized that adults were not all they seem to be? When I observe the adults, I find them that they are not like as they seem, as they speak, as they say. They're different, they're ironical. They're quite different what they pose, what they pretend. Was that the day when I realized this thing about all adults, all grown-ups? All they seemed to be, they talked of love and preached of love. They always talked of love. They always explained what is love. But did they follow love? Did they show love? Or only they lived in their pretensions? Or they just pretended that, but did not act so lovingly? So I'm repeating the lines. All they seemed to be, they talked of love and preached of love, but did not act so lovingly. So their action and their speaking, what they spoke was different. They preached of love, but they did not follow love. Was that the day that my childhood leave me? Was that the day when I grew up? So this way, now, when did my childhood go? Was it when I found my mind was really mine? When I had introspected and found that I can take my decisions, I can make my own way, I can create myself my own ways. Was it when I found my mind was really mine? Was this the day? Was that the day that I left my childhood and stepped into adolescence to use whichever way I choose and producing thoughts that were not those of other people. They were my own, mine own. I belong to those thoughts and those thoughts belong to me. But my own and mine alone. You can underline this line, that when I had introspected and found that I have to take my own decisions and I found myself capable. Was that the day? Right? So let's move on to the last stanza. Now, where did my childhood go? Now the question is not when did my childhood go. The three stanzas have laid emphasis on when did my childhood go. Now the stanza, the 4-line stanza, the quatrain speaks, where did my childhood go? There is an interrogative sentence in the beginning of the stanza, interrogation. Where did my childhood go? All the 3 last lines in the previous stanzas are exclamations. Here there is a full stop. That's all I know. Where did my childhood go? And that's all I know. There are 2 lines in between that have an answer. It went to some forgotten place. I don't know. Where did my childhood go? It went to some unknown, forgotten place. That is hidden, but maybe that is hidden in an infant's face, behind the smile of an innocent infant. So infancy and innocence of infancy has been shared, has been depicted by the poet. And that's all he knows. He doesn't know anything about love and childhood. Where did they go? But he knows that they are somewhere behind the innocence of a small infant, a very young infant. So I hope you have understood this, right, dear students? Have you understood the poem? Yes. Responses awaited. Any query? Okay, I'll ask you questions after the explanation. Let's go through the question answers also. First of all, whenever I explain the poems and the lessons, give a thought about or to the writers also, to the poets also, to the playwrights also. We'll be doing Mother's Day also. We have done Ailing Planet, right? Silk Road we'll be doing. So here, let's pay attention that it's a first person poem, right? That mine and my and where did my childhood go? So maybe he's grown up now, but recalling, feeling nostalgic. The mood is nostalgia. You can write. He's feeling nostalgic about his childhood. We have discussed this nostalgia. Let's share it again. So he wants it back. He wants his childhood back. That's why he's longing for his childhood. Now let's see. Identify the stanza that talks of each of the following. Which stanza talks of hypocrisy? Which stanza talks of individuality? Which stanza talks of rationalism? Right? So let's go through the stanzas. Anyone would like to answer that? Where is that hypocrisy? What is hypocrisy? What you pretend you are not. We have just now discussed about adults, grown-ups, that they pretend what they are not. They talk of love, but they do not spread love. So that is in which stanza? Anyone? Yes? Yes? Anyone? Gaurav, Achal, Saumil, Shivang. Which stanza is
Second
that?
stanza.
Very good. Second stanza. When I realized that adults were not. So now the point is, second stanza talks of hypocrisy. You can write in your book or notepad. Keep your notepads open, children. They'll help you a lot. Whatever you listen, the keywords, the key ideas. So when I said the mood of the poem, the tone of the poet is nostalgia, longing for something, and that something is very important. That is childhood, right? Because we all love our childhood activities. We all want to go back to our that particular age, which is the pristine period of our life. It's very pure, it's very innocent. So now, which stanza talks of individuality? Anyone? Individuality. I found myself mine.
Third paragraph.
Very good. Third stanza. Third stanza, right? Very good. So when I found my mind was really mine, so I am able to make out that my children are able to understand. Yes. And rationalism. Where is rationalism?
First.
Okay. Very good. Right? What, according to the poem, is involved in the process of growing up? What is involved in the process of growing up? How will you answer this question? We have discussed nostalgia, we have discussed rationalism, right? Then we have discussed individuality, right? Then we have discussed hypocrisy, who are hypocrites. Now, the another aspect is what, according to the poem, there is involvement. What is involved in the process of growing up? In the process of growing up, there are a lot of experiences. What type of experiences? Missing, finding, exploring, losing, understanding. Most important thing, that is understanding, realizing, from thoughtlessness to thoughtfulness. This is the most important phase, when you learn to become thoughtful from thoughtless, right? Or you grow from thoughtful to more thoughtful person. It's not all are thoughtless and we become thoughtful. We grow by our thoughtfulness. We think this is right, this is wrong. We think, we analyze, we imbibe, we perceive, we learn, we understand, we realize, and a ready personality on the basis of these experiences. So what is the poet's feeling towards childhood? I've already given. He longs for the childhood. He wants it back. He's thinking that when did he lose his childhood? Where did he lose his childhood? Right? And finally, he gives the answer. He raises the questions. When did my childhood go? When did my childhood go? Where did my childhood go? 3 times when, and when. And 4th time he says where, and then he answers the question. I think, or that's all I know, that it has gone somewhere behind an infant's smile. So it's somewhere hidden in infant smile. Which do you think are the most poetic lines? Which do you think are the most poetic lines? Anyone? Mayur, Nishchal, Samriddhi, Shivang, Supriya. Which it may differ from person to person. For me, like a reader, like you, I feel, where did my childhood go? It went to some forgotten place. And that place is infant smile. Innocent, pure hearted, beautiful creation of Almighty, right? So beautiful form. And behind that infant smile, somewhere my childhood has gone and hidden itself. So this way, understanding the poem, thematic comprehension. Have you understood the theme? Thematic comprehension means theme. The theme of the poem is based on nostalgia and talking of the lost childhood. When you long, what is nostalgia? I have discussed 2 3 times. When you feel miss something, when you lose something and you want it, you long for that, you want it back. So here the poet wants his childhood. He's thinking about his childhood. Then reflection on the theme. How do you reflect on the theme? Your reflection is very important. How do you take childhood? How you have taken childhood? Because the students of this particular age have stepped from 11 to 12, 12 to 14, 14 to 15. So that way they are growing and they know how they spent their childhood and the activities now that they are not doing. So, and there is sensibility, the features, the characteristics you can talk, the theme, the childhood, longing for childhood. Whose words? Marcus Nathan. So who is the poet? Learn right now that this particular poem has been written by. There are one marks questions. Now when we talk of the questions, the theme, what is the theme of the poem? Write the summary of the poem in your notepad. That is very important. Okay. Then theme we have already discussed. Then there is always a message. There's always a thing to pick up for the readers. What will you say as, like, what is the best part of the poem? Yes, dear students, you can give 1 minute to yourself and make a silent reading on your table where you are sitting, or at your study place, wherever you are, right? So you just pay attention for 30 seconds, go through the stanzas 1, 2, 3, which talks of individuality, rationalism, hypocrisy. Overall, the poem talks of nostalgia, longing for childhood, wanting the childhood back and those childhood days back, and with an answer that I suppose my childhood has hidden behind an infant's smile. Or somewhere the infant is very innocent and the smile of a child is very, very innocent. So I hope you have understood. Yes, class 11th. Responses awaited. Very good, Kevin, Noel. Where are others? Very good. Okay. So I hope, shall we end here? Very good.